Hello and welcome to another Outside the Box review. Today we are looking at the Iron Man Mark V armor from the Iron Man 2 movie series figures from Hasbro. I've been really intrigued with the Hasbro Marvel figures in general lately, mostly because I've been listening to a podcast called Marvelicious Toys. I started listening to them actually because I wanted to see just in general toy reviews and to see what people liked about things and didn't for my own customizing work. But it really kind of pushed me to want to check out these figures in person, and they speak very highly of both these guys and the Marvel Universe line, so I definitely thought I'd check them out. And I can't say I'm disappointed with Iron Man here. First off, the figure comes with a lot of stuff, and with the range on these Iron Man toys, you could be paying anywhere from $5 to, I've seen them up to almost $10. But if you play your cards right, you have some patience, you can get these guys for about $5 a piece, which is what I did. And I think that's a pretty good price for what you get out of this. You can see he comes with a missile launching briefcase, the figure himself, a stand with little cards in the background, and an alternate hand. Now, granted, the hand I have on him right now is actually the alternate hand. I switched it out within minutes of opening it out of the package, and I'll go into that when I actually look at the figure more in depth. But for now, let's look at his accessories. This is the suitcase that he comes with. If you've seen the movie or read the comics, because that is definitely a comic book thing, he stores his armor in the suitcase, or at least this armor in the suitcase, and he could, pop it open and get his Iron Man suit on without having his big complex machinery and stuff. As you can see, there's two ridiculously large missiles that you will probably never see again in my collection. You hit this little triangle arc reactor button on the side and shoot one and shoot the other one. I gotta say, it is a pretty good little missile launcher. You can feel there's definitely some power to it when it fires. And actually, I think you could hold down the button and fire both. Yeah, there you go. So, it's kind of a cool little play feature if you're 10 and you're into that kind of thing. Personally, I just like it because it comes with a briefcase. You go over this side, too, and you can see there's a little latch here. You can pop it open, and you can see the armor. Now, granted, this isn't all painted up. It'd be actually kind of cool to go get some movie stills and customize it, I think. Just do a little painting to it, make it look right. And obviously, it wouldn't make sense to display this with the figure, necessarily, because he has the armor on. But it's still a cool little thing to have. And definitely props to them. I didn't think it would open when I got it. And pleasantly surprised to see that it does. And another nice little thing I just noticed is, they have the jutting out plastic here for the missiles to go in. They actually did replicate it on this side, so it gives the briefcase a good symmetrical look, and it doesn't look nearly as cheesy as it might if it was just a missile launcher piece. So put that aside. Take him off of his base. The base itself, pretty generic. I actually kind of like the genericness of it, simply because if you had a bunch of these figures, it would be kind of neat to have them all lined up in a row on these bases. I know the review spot mentioned in every review he did of these Iron Man figures, and I actually kind of got tired of hearing it after a while, but I'm going to say the same thing. They really should have had the character's name across the front here. It would have been a nice little touch. It also comes with these cards. You take them apart, I guess, if you have multiple Iron Men, makeup, specialized little designs. I think it's more something kids would enjoy, but I think it does make a nice backdrop to the stand. Once again, if you have all these characters with the stand, it'd be kind of cool. And I do like that it will give you a custom serial number when you're done. Just slide them into the stand. I think if you had a big collection of these Iron Man figures, at least the Iron Man himself, maybe not like Whiplash or something else, it'd be kind of cool to have them on the stand with the standee behind them. and have kind of the picture of the armor, and then have the figure itself. So getting into the figure itself, it's pretty nicely sculpted. Actually, it's really nicely sculpted. If you look at it, you can see all of the kind of chainmail-esque things here, and the flatter panels, the little wires going down his arm. I mean, there's a lot of good detail here. You see on the back, there's even more stuff. And they did a really good job with it, getting little details in there. I mean, 3 3/4 inch figure, I guess you can't ask for a whole lot in terms of detail, and they definitely got probably about as much as you could onto this guy. One thing I do believe they got wrong with the sculpt, and I may be wrong, I haven't looked at stills from the movie in a while. I think this triangle piece in the middle is on upside down. I could be wrong about that. It's the same on the card back here. I think that's wrong, though. Maybe I'm just crazy. The paint apps leave a little to be desired. I mean, they did get a good blend here with the nice red. The red seems to be pretty consistent all over him. This bicep here looks a little dark, but I think it may just be my lighting that's giving me an illusion that it's dark. It's not bad if it is different. The silver is quite nice and reflective without really being that metallic. The areas here, like the arc reactor with the blue halo around the white, and the eyes, which are kind of the same deal, they're a little sloppy. And honestly, there's a couple other places where you could see the red bled into the silver or something else. Not quite as nice as it could have been, but once again, 3 3/4 inch figure. What are you really going to get out of it? I mean, I'm not a big 3 3/4 inch collector, at least I haven't been in the past, so maybe I just don't know the limits of what they can do. You can see also here, there's some flaked off paint on his arm here. The silver's gone away and there's red underneath. One of the ones I found in the store that I was actually going to buy, because the paint app that I noticed originally is around the arc reactor. It was much cleaner. But as I was looking at him in the package, I noticed that his eyes were messed up. You can see on this one, he kind of has a black outline around a blue haze with white in the middle. And the blue haze with white in the middle was fine in the figure I saw, but the black outline was shifted about 1 millimeter to the right, and a little bit down as well. So the highlights around the eye sockets were misplaced, which was really a weird look. It looked kind of trippy. As for the articulation, he has a ball-jointed head, which goes side to side pretty easily. The ball itself isn't great. You can't really get a whole lot of up and down. Actually, the more I mess with it, I'm not even sure if it really is a ball joint. Feels like I can get some, but maybe I'm just twisting a swivel. There's the mid-chest articulation. Normally, I'm not a big fan of that on figures. I feel like it's kind of an unnatural movement. I'd much rather just have the waist articulation. But with Iron Man, I feel like if you're going to design a suit like this, that's probably where you would articulate it. So I feel like it works well for Iron Man. Granted, you turn him too much and it breaks the paint on his suit and it looks kind of goofy. His arms, you could spin full 360. They only go out about that far. You don't get a whole lot of range up and down the shoulders, which is a little disappointing. Well, I'm going to interrupt my own review here for a second and point out something that I messed up on. Just now I was talking about how his arm articulation is limited to about there, and I found out it's just a weird fluke in the way this toy is made. The lip here at the top of the joint on both arms is a little too big, but if you mess with it enough, you can actually get the full rotation out of the arm. And get his arm raised to about there. It's definitely a downside to the figure that the arms are so weird like that, and I don't know exactly why they were built in that manner, but it does make the toy a little nicer that you can pose it. I would recommend probably doing this sparingly, because I think you'd probably end up breaking the arms if you did too often, but it is possible. Now back to your regularly scheduled review, already in progress. There's a nice big bendable elbow. You could also rotate the arm there, and you can rotate the hand. And if I didn't point out before, there's a nice little repulsor in there. You also do get a little bit of play up and down with the hand. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not. I don't want to mess with it too much in case it isn't. The legs is where I kind of have a problem. I've seen this before in other figures. There's a ball in here for the ball jointed hips, and there's one little groove on it. I think you can kind of see the darker part in there. And that will let the ball swivel out either that way or forward. So you kind of have to like rotate that ball to get it to really articulate well. Like if you want to put the leg forward, you have to kind of rotate the ball to the forward position. And I've never been a fan of that kind of articulation in a figure. I'll just keep them pointed to the side so you can do the splits. I think I give them more dynamic poses like that as opposed to forward and back so much. But you could also, because of the ball joint, you could rotate at the upper leg. You can bend the knee in two places, which is really nice. And the foot will bend up and down and then go side to side a little bit because it does have the blocking plastic, but it's a softer plastic down here, so you can kind of push it a little. So the hands he comes with is the right hand, which is a permanent fixture on him, which is the open, about to blast you type hand, which I like. And the left hand is interchangeable. Right now I have what is the alternate hand, which is open gripping, which I assume you could have him carrying the suitcase. I think that's why they included this hand. You can also remove it, if I have any luck with it. There it goes. Comes off. You have the peg sticking out of his arm. And you can put on the alternate, or I guess the original, closed fist. That pops on. The first time I tried to pop these on and off, they were really stiff and really hard, and I was afraid I was going to break the figure. And I gotta say, this time doing it, it's going a lot better. But you got the fist on there too. I like the open hand a little better than the fist, just because I like the more dynamic pose it gives him. Because my thought is the hand like this, you could be opening it to do a double repulsor blast, or he could be balling it up into a fist. I think it gives it a little air of dynamicness to it, as opposed to just a closed fist. Which, I'm pretty sure in the movie he's right-handed, so if he's throwing a left-handed punch, it's probably not going to be the most powerful thing. Especially, getting this hand ready to blast somebody. You're not really going to hurt him too bad with a little punch. Maybe that's just me, my weird aesthetics. So that is the Mark V Iron Man. I gotta say, I'm actually really impressed with the figure. I picked him up because he was a good price, and I just wanted to see what these guys were really like. And I have to say, I am impressed with what they've done with a 3 3/4 inch figure. The sculpt's nice, the paint is passable. I mean, honestly, I kind of ragged on it a little bit, but it's no worse than what you'd get with some DC Universe, which are twice the size. So it's really a pretty good paint job on them. And just overall, it's a nice figure. The articulation's good. There's plenty of it. I don't see anybody really having a leg to stand on complaining about articulation on this guy. It comes with a nice little display base. You could do some modifications to it if you wanted. Same with the suitcase and the missiles. If you're a kid or you're getting it for a kid, I could see the missiles being kind of fun. I used to love them when I was a kid, playing with this crap. I used to have all my G.I. Joes lined up and just shoot off a barrage of missiles and knock over things in my room. So you definitely understand why those would be fun. They'll probably get lost within a day, but that happens. The fact that the suitcase opens is definitely a surprise for me. Definitely a plus. You really do get a lot for your money with this figure. Even if you're paying MSRP on them, you do get enough that it doesn't feel like a rip-off. So I would definitely recommend, if you were into Marvel Comics or even just the movies or whatever, pick up one of these guys. And I think now, seeing this, I kind of want to go and backfill at least the Iron Man and just have the Mark 1 through 6. I don't even know how hard it is to find some of those figures anymore, but I might keep an eye out for them because this is pretty cool. So this has been another Outside the Box review. Stay tuned for more to come.